Hey guys, we're doing something a little bit different today. We know a lot of you are at home because of the coronavirus. Now, whether you believe it's media hype or whether or not you believe it's something really to worry about, either way, there's a lot of people at home right now. So what we're wanting to do is have some content for you guys to watch. We are going to take you on a tour that Kelly and I did a while back of General Grant's home, also known as President Grant. We're going to walk through and show you guys a little bit of what we saw there, but leave us a comment if you like this kind of video, and we may try to do more. If you're at home, leave us a comment, let us know what's going on in your area. We always want to know and keep up with you guys. Also, if you're buying any supplies and you can't get anything in the stores, if you would, use our affiliate link for Amazon down below in the pinned comment. Whether or not you're buying that item or something else, it also goes to help us fund the channel, and we put every bit of the money back in the channel, taking trips and that sort of thing, so that we can bring you guys these videos. Here in Galena, Illinois, we're coming back from detecting the Heartland hunt, and we stopped by here at the Ulysses S. Grant house. This is the house that was built for General Grant after the Civil War, where he and his wife came to live. And we're going to take the tour. I don't know if they're going to let us record in there or not. We're going to try, talk to them and see. I know everybody doesn't get to come by here, you know, and he was elected president, the 18th president of the United States after the Civil War. So anyway, let's go in and see if they'll let us in and do a little recording for you guys. Here's a look at the front of the house.
In Southern Ohio. He goes to West Point and he graduates 21st out of a class of 39. His first posting is right outside of St. Louis, Missouri, Jefferson Barracks. And it's in this area that he meets the love of his life, Julia Dent. They marry 1848. His next posting, halfway across the country to the Oregon coast, it is wilderness. He hates it. Julia's back in St. Louis with their young son, expecting their second child. He misses them so much that he resigns his commission and quits the military. He moves back to St. Louis, and for the next couple of years, he tries a lot of different things to provide for them, and he fails at every one. At the same time, he has two brothers here in Galena. They have a family-owned leather goods store. Back then, our population was 14,000, and we were the largest port between St. Louis and Minneapolis. Grant thinks perhaps Galena is a good opportunity for him. He moves here. It is 1860. He and Julia have 4 children now. For the next 11 months, he works with his brothers. The Civil War begins. He re-enlists and he's back to being a military man. We fast forward through the entire Civil War. You guys know who won, right?
Got it.
Okay.
Some people will dispute that.
Oh yes, it was the War of Northern Aggression.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry about that. Grant is returning to Galena, 1865, and he is a hero to the nation. Well, 3/4 of the nation. Okay?
After the War of the Southern Invasion.
Wasn't it a Northern invasion?
Yeah. You said
Yeah, the War of the Northern Invasion.
You said Southern
Yes.
Rebellion.
Well, the Southern Rebellion and then Northern Invasion.
All depends on the way you look at it.
Yes, sir.
Let's not get a...
The war
No, we're-
between the states.
I like that neutrality.
Okay. Yes, we have to maintain neutrality. We're all friends here. All right, Grant is returning to Galena, let's just say as a hero. And the city is planning its biggest celebration ever. 13 of our downtown business people have pooled their money. They want to give the Grants a nice gift. And they have $2,500 to spend. They buy this house. And they give it to the Grants during the celebration. Julia sees it and calls this house a lovely villa, and that's what she writes in her memoirs. This house becomes their legal address, 1865 until 1888. At that point, their children are all grown. They live on the East Coast. The Grants want to be nearby, and they move to New York. He passes away 4 years later. He dies of throat cancer. The year was 1885. He was 63 years old. Julia keeps this house for another 17 years. And with her death, their children give it to the city of Galena with one condition. It always has to be held to honor their parents. In 1931, the city deeds it to the state of Illinois. There has been no single owner of this home since 1865. 90% of what you'll see today original to the Grants. But we do like to mention 3 things that are not. All of the wallpapers throughout the home, upstairs and down, are to the period, but not necessarily to the Grants. This particular pattern was called Poor Man's Marble, and it was so popular it came in 3 lovely colors. None of the carpets are original, but they too are to the period. The window shades are the final item, and what you see there is almost an exact duplicate to what the Grants did have. All right, we good?
Sure.
All right, we're going to start with the room right behind me. Just kind of move around so everybody gets a chance to see. This is the library. It was their favorite room of the house. They both enjoyed reading, or served as Secretary of War under President Lincoln. Behind the sculpture, through this doorway into the parlor.
I was there a couple weeks ago.
Ah, very good. Haven't been there yet. This is the parlor. It is the largest room of the house. The house itself, 3,300 square feet. This room is usually only used on Sunday. They would have welcomed family and friends after church. People were shorter. Grant was 5'8", the average height for a man 5'7". For a lady, the average height was 5 foot, and that was just about Julia. Grant enjoyed a good game of chess. He liked the strategy of the game. He played here. The ladies used this fancier tilt-top table. That's where they would have had their coffee and their tea. This chair was Grant's chair. He smoked a lot of those cigars right there. And he liked the chair so much, he had it shipped to D.C. It was in the White House for 8 years. Then he shipped it back home. After the White House years were over, he and Julia left from here for a trip around the world. They were gone for over 2 years, and they visited 30 different countries. Everywhere they went, lavish banquets in their honor, and some nice gifts. The vases on the mantle were gifts from the King of Bulgaria. The landscapes done by Mexican artist Jose Velasco were gifts from the government of Mexico. He's headed back home to Galena, but he stops in Sacramento, California, where that portrait is done, and he is 57 years old. All of the furniture has been reupholstered. The black is to the period, that is horsehair and silk thread. The only piece not original to the Grants in the room is the Chickering baby grand piano. They did have one. Theirs was in 1865, and that's in 1868. We don't know what happened to the grand piano. Can't find any paper trail. It is hard to lose a piano, but we do know that Julia and daughter Nellie both love to play. Grant himself has a very famous quote about his side of music, I only know 2 songs. One is Yankee Doodle, the other one isn't. Any questions about the parlor?
So that's an original painting.
It is.
That's not.
And the landscapes.
Okay.
And then this is an original. These 2 are copies, but this is an original, and it was given to the home within the last 10 years. Most of the artwork comes to the house through donations.
Picture of Lee.
Hey Teresa, is it bad that I recognize who they are without looking at the print?
This is Appomattox.
All right, guys, into the dining room.
Have you been to Springfield?
Yeah.
This room is original to the Grants. Julia purchased all of the silver while she was in the White House, and she is a talented artistic lady. She designed the pattern on the china. That was done for daughter Nellie's wedding in the White House. Nellie married at 18. She was the first bride from the White House in over 30 years. The press called it the celebration of the century. On the sideboard, that little plate is a replica of the Grant White House china. And on the walls, we have photos of the families. The Grants are there in the center. They had 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl. On the sides, we've got the in-laws. This is his parents, Jesse and Hannah Grant. On the other side, Julia's parents, Frederick and Ellen Dent. The 2 families did not get along very well. They were shopkeepers and they were very strong abolitionists. They hated slavery. The Dents, Julia's parents, Frederick and Ellen Dent, they owned a plantation. They are rich and they also own slaves. Julia and Ulysses will marry at the plantation. There are slaves. The Grants do not attend the wedding. This causes a bit of conflict for the newlyweds, but once the grandchildren start to arrive, they begin to see Julia more as a caring mother. The relationship does warm up and it becomes a positive one. Over the mantle, that is Julia. She's in one of her best gowns. This is taken off of a black and white photo that Matthew Brady did of her. He also photographed her husband quite a few times right on the battlefield. During her White House years, she is seen as a gracious hostess. Her dinner parties are about 4 hours long, and she serves a minimum of 18 small entrees. For the very first time, we hear a presidential spouse receive a title, and it's given in print by the Congressional Quarterly. They call Julia First Lady of the Land. She is the first to have a press secretary and the first to write her memoirs. On the trip around the world, Julia received the bronze urn and the teakwood stand. Those were gifts from the people of Yokohama, Japan. Any questions? Julia, dining room? All right, you guys must be a smart bunch. Next part of the tour is self-guided. You're going to go upstairs. You'll see 5 bedrooms, 1 for the Grants, 1 for each of the children. See which child had the biggest bedroom. I bet it was the only girl. All right, you're going to come down the back stairs and then I'll tell you all about the kitchen. The plaques upstairs will tell you how the children live their lives, what happened to them.
You said that part of the family was abolitionists and part were not.
They were abolitionists.
Right. The Grants never owned slaves. U.S. Grant never owned a slave or anything.
He had a black butler for a period, but he did pay him, and
He had time
Right.
off and things like
yeah,
that.
Okay.
it was not a slave
Right.
relationship at
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
Where was the china made? Where?
Haviland, China.
Both of them?
No, I think this is Bavaria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it looked very Germanic to me.
Yes, this is Bavarian, China, West Germany.
Yep.
Okay.
This is Haviland.
Okay.
If you want to know more about them and Whitehaven and the Dents, which was, Whitehaven was belonged to the Dents,
Right.
her family. It's in St. Louis, very nice.
I'm from Belleville.
And we're gonna go upstairs.
Okay, well, I was born in St. Louis.
It's a spiral staircase. Very cool. Reminds me of the old southern plantations almost. This is a part of the self-guided tour. They have bed pots right by the bed, so they didn't have to go out in the middle of the night. It's a dressing room. Down a hallway. Youngest son, Jesse Root Grant. Notice they had stoves in every, or not stoves, but heaters in every bedroom. Excuse me. Another staircase coming down the back side. Ulysses Buck Grant Jr. A heater in that room. Very interesting.
By then, his dad had sent his two younger brothers here to Galena to open and operate a leather goods store on Main Street, which is still there, by the way. Well, at the time, Galena was the leading lead mining capital of the world. People came from everywhere here. One of the brothers became ill, so they asked Ulysses to come and take his place. He agreed. And in April 1860, they rented a brick kiln across the river up to High Street for about a year. That just must
Look at the, I guess it's a slideshow right there on the table. Stereograph. Is that what that is? Kelly says that's a stereograph.
eventually becoming the commanding officer of the entire Northern Army. When the war was over, the Grants came back to Galena as heroes. In August of 1865, 13 local businessmen got together, purchased this
There's a picture. Original pictures. There's another son, Frederick Grant, Dent Grant.
The house had been built in 1860 by Galena City College. The Grants were still involved in the military, so they had to go Ulysses was elected the 18th president and re-elected 4 years later. Their last visit to Galena was in 1883. By then they had made New York City their permanent residence. Sadly, it was there that he came down with throat cancer. Passed away July 23rd, 1885 at 63 years of age. Julia outlived him by 17 years. She died in 1902 in Washington. In 1904,
All right, we're coming down the back stairs into the other part of the house. This is part of the original parlor that we first saw when we come in. So dining room.
Lean over here
Yes,
and
ma'am.
look through the doorway. You'll see the tub.
Oh wow, yeah.
The Fillmore house in,
Really little.
yeah. East Aurora, yeah. That was a fun little tour. That was so interactive. You wanna pick that clock up? Go right ahead.
They won't let us do that.
No.
No.
No, but they had almost no boundaries in the Fillmore house in East Aurora, New York. I mean, you could,
Lean over and look through the doorway. You'll see the tub. Lean over and look through the doorway. You'll see the tub.
Is that zinc? A zinc?
Copper.
It's copper.
Copper.
That would have held the
Heat.
heat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They had a beautiful bed. Oh, that is just stunning.
I dust it every other day.
Do you? A lot of spindles, yes.
Uh-huh.
But it's quite beautiful.
I like this one on the right is called a fluting iron. Both parts heat up on the stove. Fabric goes in the center. Then this rocks back and forth, and that gives you the look of small pleats for your sleeve and your neckline. This is the height of fashion for both women and men of the period, so you guys would have been looking good too. This is a step stove, different levels, firebox here, but it's small, so you're constantly loading wood. As things heat up, you're stirring. This level, your main dishes are here, and this is your oven. In about 1870, they go to a different look, a box-like structure with the oven in the center, what we know a stove looks like today. They do have gadgets, little hand mixer. Isn't that cute?
wow.
You ready to give up your KitchenAid for this? Apple peeler and cherry pitter. You can do 2 at once. What a time saver.
Amazing.
That's fancy.
Dry zinc, no running water in the house, but if she needs a bucket, her sons bring it up for her. There's also no refrigeration in the house, but they do have a pantry. This one is quite nice, size-wise. The top 2 shelves, Galena pottery, 1840, 1893. But we are a lead mining town. The glazes are probably full of lead, not what you want in your kitchen. Any questions from upstairs or down here?
Are those tops on the mason jars, are they original? Are they lead also? Are they?
I do not know.
Okay.
All right, if you're outside and you want to walk around, it's a beautiful day. The Julia statue out front, dedicated in 2006. Some of the descendants back for that. Out on the sidewalk, there's a building with a white front, red back, that has a general store exhibit. Out this way, restrooms and another small exhibit area. More of the White House china and presidential pets. We had 2 presidents that had alligators. One had a pygmy hippo. These are things you might need to know.
Alligators, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
We'll see those bottles.
I'm gonna buy some stuff because you know I just want to buy stuff.
Oh, we love you. This is a nice book. It's,
Check those old bottles out up
it's
there.
a lot of then and now pictures.
Oh yeah.
This is where he lived the first time he came to town and worked with his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked
He
like.
wasn't much of a businessman. So
No, he
very-
wasn't. He wasn't.
Yeah.
And this is the back side of the house. We just came out through the kitchen right here. It's the last thing we saw. And up there is the back side of the house where the bedrooms are. And there's a back staircase there. We were looking out there earlier. And I don't know if this is original. I didn't ask him. I would suspect that this may be in a carriage house or something, or it may not even be original. I don't know. I didn't ask. But it's very, very interesting.
I'm seeing
We're gonna walk around.
We drove all the way to, where did we go?
Restrooms.
Dubuque. Yeah, we stayed the night.
Yeah, but I cut it that way. Well, the house
This is some of the neighborhood. And I don't know if anybody lives in these houses now. We may go and knock and talk to some of these people later and maybe see if they'll let us metal detect. I don't know. Just down the street from Grant's house. Some of these I don't think are private residents. We'll have to go on up the street and just see. There's a car parked up there. That one may be. And the flags are at half staff for Law Enforcement Memorial. And here is the White House China. Different presidents and their patterns. The first, which was George Washington. The different pets they had. It's interesting. So, U.S. Grant's birthplace in Point Pleasant, Ohio.
Quincy Adams had a pet alligator, some silkworms, and some horses. Because, you know, that's what you really need.
Between war. This is the view from the back of General Grant's home in Galena. You see downtown Galena there, the old section. If you come visit here, we ate at the Log Cabin down there. Is absolutely outstanding. One of the best steaks I have ever had in my life. 111 Main is another good place as well. Very cool little town. Very cool. It's a map of Galena. I'm not sure how well this will come out on the camera.